If you're here, you're already different. Most people never search for the reason behind their stuck life. But you? You sense something is off, a force inside you always holding you back, quietly wasting your days. That force is called procrastination, and it ruins more dreams than failure ever will. But it can be beaten. In this series, I'll give you 13 truths that can break the cycle. Don't blink, don't click away. The person you could become is on the other side of this. Let's get rid of the oldest lie. You're just lazy. If that were true, you wouldn't be watching this. You care. So why do you keep putting things off? Why do you plan a perfect day, then waste hours doing nothing important? Nietzsche would say, procrastination is your mind's alarm system. When you avoid something, it's because part of you believes that task is dangerous, or painful, or will force you to change. You don't delay because you're weak. You delay because your mind is trying to protect you from risk. Maybe you had a teacher who made you afraid of being wrong. Maybe you failed once, and your brain learned to dodge anything that could hurt again. So every time you avoid a job, a message, or a decision, ask yourself, what is my mind trying to protect me from right now? Real moment. Think of the last thing you put off. Notice the feeling in your chest. Was it a heavy knot, a sinking pit, a rush of nervous energy? That's your brain's alarm. The first step out is to listen for that signal instead of judging yourself for being lazy. Most people never hear this message. You can. Look under every delay, and you'll find fear, sometimes big, sometimes small, but always there. Fear of looking stupid, fear of failing, fear of making the wrong choice, even fear of success, because then people will expect more from you. Nietzsche taught that anything you refuse to look at will control you from the shadows. But when you bring fear into the light, it loses its bite. So try this. The next time you're avoiding something, stop for a second. Ask yourself, what am I really afraid of? Say it out loud, even if it feels silly. I'm scared if I try I'll disappoint everyone. I'm worried I'll realize I'm not good enough. You might feel embarrassed, but you'll also feel lighter. Quick challenge. Grab a piece of paper. Write the task you're putting off, and under it, write every fear you have about it. Seeing it written down makes the fear less powerful. It's no longer a shadow. It's just a sentence. Example. Sana dreaded presenting in front of her class. She always forgot to prepare. One day, she wrote, "I'm scared people will laugh if I mess up." Just seeing that fear on paper made her realize how many others felt the same way. She didn't love presenting, but she no longer froze. Name your fear. It's the first act of courage. You look at your to-do list and it feels like staring up at a mountain. Finish my thesis. Get fit. Organize the house. Your mind panics, and you do nothing. But Nietzsche knew, big things are just small things stacked together. The mountain is an illusion. The move. Break your task down until the first step feels almost too easy. Write a single sentence, not the whole essay. Put your shoes on. Don't run 5 miles. Sort one drawer, not the whole house. The brain loves movement, not pressure. Once you take that micro step, it's so much easier to keep going. Real example. A guy wanted to get in shape, but gyms scared him. He started by just walking around his block every day. After a week, he started jogging for 1 minute, then 2. 3 months later, he was running 5Ks. It all started by shrinking the mountain. If the first step feels overwhelming, shrink it again. The goal is motion, not perfection. Maybe you call yourself a perfectionist, or maybe you just secretly wish every project could start and end flawless. That's why you never begin. You wait for the perfect plan, the perfect time, the perfect mood. But perfect is just fear in a fancy mask. Nietzsche wrote, "You need chaos in your soul to give birth to a dancing star." If you want to get anything real done, you must give yourself permission to start badly. The shift. Start your project knowing it will be rough. Write a messy draft. Make a sketch full of mistakes. Have an awkward first conversation. Nobody's first try is genius. Everyone's best work starts ugly. Quick practice. Pick something you're avoiding. Set a timer for 7 minutes. Work on it without caring about the result. At the end, you'll have something real, something to build on. True story. David wanted to start a podcast, but he kept waiting for the right idea. He finally forced himself to record an episode about anything, even his fear of recording. It wasn't great, but he learned more from that bad episode than from months of waiting. Starting messy is how you get to something great. You've just learned the first 4 truths that Nietzsche would hand you like keys. Procrastination is an alarm, not a flaw. Fear loses its grip when you name it. The mountain is just pebbles. Start with 1. Messy starts beat perfect intentions every time. But this is just the beginning. In the next part, you'll discover 5 more truths that most people never realize, and they're what separate the people who wish from the people who win. If any of these truths hit home, let me know in the comments. And subscribe, because in part 2, the comfort trap and the ritual that could change everything is waiting for you. Don't miss it. The next lesson is the one that wakes up your real life. Here's a hard truth. Comfort ruins more dreams than fear ever will. It's easy to settle for what's familiar, even if it's boring or miserable, because your mind loves the safety of routine. Every time you avoid a challenge and reach for comfort, Netflix, scrolling, snacks, old habits, you reinforce a tiny chain that keeps you trapped. Nietzsche would say, "Become who you are." You can't do that while you're stuck hiding under a blanket of comfort. Ask yourself, am I doing this because it matters, or just because it feels safe? Growth happens at the edge of what's comfortable. You'll never know who you could be if you never risk leaving the safety zone. Story. Maya hated her job, but stayed for years because it was easy. Only when she forced herself to apply for something harder did she realize how much she'd outgrown her old life. The lesson? If your life feels stuck, check where you're too comfortable. 6. Rituals are stronger than motivation. You wait to feel motivated. But motivation is like the weather. Here one day, gone the next. The secret is to build small rituals that anchor you, no matter your mood. Nietzsche believed in the power of simple routines, rituals that signal to your brain, "Now I begin." It could be making tea before you write, or tying your shoes before a walk, or clearing your desk before work. The ritual itself matters more than what comes after. The power of ritual is that it works even when you don't feel like it. Rituals beat motivation every time. Quick challenge. Pick a task you keep avoiding. Create a 2-minute ritual you'll do every time before starting. Light a candle, stretch, put on headphones. After a week, your brain will expect the ritual, and starting becomes much easier. Most people wait for the perfect mood. When I feel inspired, I'll start. But Nietzsche would laugh at that. He knew that action creates feeling, not the other way around. Even the smallest step, a walk, a sentence written, a phone call made, creates a ripple effect in your mind. The act of doing, even badly, builds momentum. That momentum builds confidence. Real example. Adam felt stuck for weeks. He forced himself to write for just 3 minutes. The first minute was torture. By minute 4, his energy was back. He finished the task in one go. Start moving, and your mind follows. A painful question. Are you procrastinating because you're chasing your own dream or someone else's? It's easy to delay what you don't actually want. Parents, teachers, even friends fill your mind with expectations. If the task isn't yours, you'll always avoid it. Nietzsche said, "No price is too high to pay for the privilege of owning yourself." Check your goals. Which ones are truly yours? Drop the rest. Story. Priya spent years in law school because her family wanted it. She never felt motivated. When she finally switched to art, her real passion, she worked for hours with zero procrastination. The lesson? It's easy to delay what you secretly resent. When you choose your own path, action becomes a gift, not a chore. Deadlines can be powerful, but for many, they become weapons for self-attack. Set a harsh deadline, miss it, then spiral into guilt and quit entirely. Nietzsche would say, use deadlines as gentle guides. If you miss one, adjust the plan. Don't quit. Set smaller, flexible timelines. Each step counts. Real example. Emma wanted to finish her novel by summer. She missed her goal and nearly gave up. Instead, she set a smaller, weekly writing deadline. She finished her book months later, slowly but surely. Deadlines should push you, not crush you. Be kind to yourself on the way up the mountain. You've now faced 5 more truths, each one a step further from the trap of procrastination. But you're not done yet. In part 3, you'll get the final 4 truths. These are the ones about finishing what you start, forgiving your mistakes, and finally feeling free. Don't go anywhere. The next lesson is the one that finally makes everything click. Everyone slips. You'll miss a day, fall back into old habits, or freeze when things get tough. That's part of being human. But Nietzsche would tell you, the only failure is never starting again. Don't use one mistake as an excuse to give up. Forgive yourself, fully, quickly, and without drama. But don't let forgiveness become a free pass. Learn from each slip, then stand up and move forward. Story. Rena wanted to meditate every morning but skipped a whole week. She was ready to quit until she realized one bad week didn't erase all her effort. She forgave herself, but also set a new trigger. Her alarm clock became her meditation reminder. Mistakes are feedback, not a death sentence. The goal is progress, not perfection. Boredom is the fuel of procrastination. But Nietzsche knew that even the hardest task gets easier if you can find one thing, just one, that sparks your curiosity. If you hate a task, ask, what's one thing about this I don't know yet? Maybe it's a tiny skill, a new technique, or a way to make it fun for yourself. Curiosity doesn't have to change the task, it just has to change your focus. Real example. Liam dreaded his accounting work. He challenged himself to find one strange fact every day. That little spark made him finish his tasks faster, and even led to a new idea for his own side hustle. Curiosity is energy. A little is all you need to turn drudgery into a game. Most people try to motivate themselves by picturing the rewards of finishing: a new job, a better body, more freedom. But Nietzsche's trick is even sharper. Imagine what it will cost you if you stay the same. Picture yourself a year from now, 5 years from now, in the same cycle, same excuses, same pain, same regrets. Let that image scare you into motion. Story. Carlos wanted to write a book, but delayed for years. One night, he imagined his life at 50, wishing he'd started sooner. The fear of regret finally beat the comfort of waiting. Don't just chase pleasure, run from the pain of staying stuck. Regret is a fire. Use it. So many people never finish what they start. They get close, lose energy, and wander off. The trick? Finish smaller. Don't wait for the grand ending. End your day with one thing complete. 1 page written, 1 drawer cleaned, 1 phone call made. Each tiny finish builds your finisher identity. The more you finish, the easier it gets to finish bigger things. True story. Leah struggled to finish anything. She set a rule: always end the day with something, even tiny, fully done. In a month, she finished her first big project in years. Finishing, even small, rewires your brain. You become someone who follows through. And that is everything. Now you know. You've faced 13 truths that most people run from their whole lives. You learned that procrastination is a signal, not a sin. That comfort is a cage, but rituals set you free. That mistakes aren't the end, and that curiosity, honesty, and small finishes change everything. But all these truths are only as powerful as the action you take. Most will nod and scroll away. But if you put even one of these into practice, your life will change, bit by bit, day by day, and then all at once. Nietzsche believed the rarest act in the world is to live your own life, wide awake, unafraid of effort, unafraid of imperfection. Don't just learn, transform. The future you want is already waiting for you. It's yours if you keep walking forward, even when it's hard, even when you want to turn back. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to begin again, and again, and again, until your new self becomes your only self. Don't let this moment slip by. This is your beginning. Nietzsche's last challenge: the 30-day procrastination rebellion. You've come this far, and that puts you in the top 1%. Most people never even notice their procrastination, let alone face it head on. But what if you could turn all 13 truths into an unbreakable habit and see change not someday, but right now? Here's Nietzsche's last challenge, a payoff for making it to the end, the 30-day rebellion. For the next 30 days, pick one area where procrastination rules your life. Each morning, remind yourself of these truths, especially the one that stings the most. Then before noon, take the smallest possible action toward your goal. Not a huge leap, just one micro step every single day. You might write a sentence, send one email, step outside for a walk, record a voice note, or face a small fear. Track your actions. Miss a day? Forgive yourself and start again. No drama. Here's the payoff. After 30 days, you'll see two things. 1. You'll have proof that change is possible for you, not just other people. 2. You'll feel your brain shifting. The voice that once whispered, "Wait," will start to whisper, "Just start." Momentum will belong to you. Real stories. People who have tried this simple rebellion report, finishing long-delayed projects, building real confidence, and most importantly, proving to themselves that they're not powerless anymore. If you do nothing else with this video, try this one challenge. Nietzsche believed life rewards the few who dare to act again and again. This is your reward for making it to the end. A new life that starts with just one step, repeated until the chain of old habits finally breaks. Your 30 days begin today.